Hey everyone, Karen Dubs here, FlexibleWarrior.com. So, I have filmed probably a dozen post-run stretch videos, but it is literally the request I get the most for. So I created a Yoga for Runners post-run stretch playlist for you guys, and we're filming a new video today. So, if you're a runner, flexibility is key, but variety is also key. So let's go through this post-run stretch, assuming that you're fresh from a run, which is the best time to stretch, because flexibility is power. Okay, so we're gonna start with a butterfly stretch first. So this is great for groin, inner thighs. You're gonna just bring the bottoms of your feet together to touch. The further that your feet are away from you, the gentler the stretch. So if you want a more intense stretch, you bring your feet a little closer to you, okay? Grab onto your ankles and then just gently press the elbows into the knees, okay? Not forcefully, not pushing and shoving into stretches, but allowing the knees to open. And then you're just gonna hinge your chest a little closer to your feet. So let's take 5 deep breaths in every stretch that we're doing today. This will take about 10 minutes, okay? So deep breaths in and out through your nose. And by the way, if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel and you can hit the bell button and then you'll get notified when new videos are added. And again, there's a playlist specifically for runners. There's a post-run stretch playlist and there's a Yoga for Runners playlist. Let's take one more deep breath in. Really try to fill your belly and then exhale, gentle press with your elbows into your knees and hinge just a little bit more forward. So from here, we're gonna come into a figure 4 stretch. So you're gonna go ahead and lift your chest up and take your right leg out straight and bring your left foot to your inner thigh. So you're gonna pivot a little bit so that your shoulders and your belly button actually are pointing towards your knee. You can inhale, stretch your arms up to the sky, and then exhale, hinge forward. So for a lot of us that are runners, hamstrings are tight, so you might not get really far in this stretch, but that's not the important part. It's not about like hinging and maybe getting your nose to your knee or even being able to touch your toes, although that's nice. That's not necessarily the goal. The goal is to create more flexibility in your body, hopefully reduce your chances of injury, and maintain mobility and flexibility with your endurance and your strength, right? Yes, that's the Flexible Warrior way. Let's take one more deep breath in. Notice if you're holding any tension in your neck and your shoulders, by the way, and as you exhale, soften everything and fold a little bit more deeply into your stretch. This is figure 4 stretch. So from here, you can go ahead and lift up and we're gonna get a quad stretch. So I wanted to give you a little bit of variety. I'm just gonna scooch to the side. So you're just gonna bring your forearm down and kick your foot out behind you. So this is a side-lying quad variation, sort of like dancer's pose for those of you who are yogis, but obviously in a kneeling, unbalanced position. So what you need to do to intensify the stretch is kick your foot a little bit into your hands and press your hip bone forward, okay? You can think about opening up your chest and rotating just a little bit towards the sky. Just maintains a little bit more openness in the posture rather than slumping or rounding. Okay, again, deep breaths in and out through your nose. Get that great stretch through your quad and your hip flexor for one more breath. And then go ahead and lift yourself slowly up from there. And we're gonna come into a Turkish twist, which I love for glute and hip. So you're just folding your foot across its opposite knee. And for some of you, you might not be able to get here. You might have to have the foot out in front, and that's fine too. But if you can, bring your foot across your opposite knee, and notice if you hiked your hip up a lot, you want to drop that hip down so that your spine is straight. Sit up as tall as you can, and then take your left hand across your right knee and your right hand behind your tailbone. So keeping your posture lifted, you're going to use the strength of this left hand to pull the right knee towards the left shoulder and then rotate through the spine at the same time. This is such an awesome stretch for your hip and also rotation, keeping the spine limber as well. And probably a little bit into your glutes as well. So let's take one more breath here. Come here, Stella. What's the matter, Stella? Good. So you can obviously do this stuff at home. Don't need any equipment. Just make sure that you get it in immediately after your stretch so that, you don't skip it. Because too many times people think, oh, I'll stretch later, and then they never do. Right? Right. She says right. Okay, from here we're going to get a hip stretch. So you're going to bring that shin out in front, just like this. So your left shin's in back and your right shin's in front. So this is a double-seated pigeon. I'm going to give you a couple variations. For a lot of you, if your hips are tight, this is perfect. You're just going to stay here and walk your hands forward so that you're stretching mostly the right hip or the shin that's in front. For those of you who are a little bit more flexible and you want to do a little bit more, you can bring the ankle over the knee and the knee out over the opposite ankle, so that if you look down, you have like a triangle. Okay, so what you want to not do is sickle this foot a lot. So if doing this makes your foot like really sickle up, meaning like point in like this, that's not good for your ankles at all. So it's better for you to modify here than to force yourself into a stretch that you're not prepared for. But for some of you, you're really flexible and you might be able to do this double pigeon variation. Either way, as long as you're feeling a hip stretch, you're doing it beautifully and perfectly, and that's all that matters, right? Honor and protect your body. You do you, I'll do me, and everybody will be good to go. No competition or judgment in your yoga practice. Let's take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring it up and out of that. So what I want you to do from here is take your feet about hip bone distance apart and drop them over so that your right knee is going to touch your left heel, and then switch sides. So we're just kind of rocking and rolling it out. And then what we're going to do from here is add a little twist to it. So let's drop the right knee to the left heel and then twist. I'm going to turn my back away from you, but what I want you to do, I'll turn to the side here so you can see a little bit better, is come all the way down so that your forearms are on the ground just like this. So you're rotating your spine and your forearms are on the ground. Okay? Should feel really good through the spine and possibly also through this front hip and the hip flexor quad on that back leg. Alrighty, then go ahead and come up and we're going to get the same thing on the other side. So starting in your butterfly stretch first, we'll get that a second time, and I'll give you a variation if you want to do a little bit more. So this is what we did the first time. You can feel free to repeat that. If you want a deeper stretch, you can take your legs into a wide straddle position. Hands can go behind you. You give yourself a little scooch forward if that feels good. Hands can go out in front if your back's more flexible and you don't need that back support. You can fold a little bit more deeply. But again, whatever feels good for you is what you should be doing. So any modification, certainly keeping the hands out behind you right here is beautiful as well. Let's take one more breath. And as you exhale, soften and relax any tension in your neck and your shoulders. Don't be in a hurry. Easier said than done. Go ahead and come all the way up, and then if your legs are out in a wide straddle, you want to support your hands underneath your knees. Bring your feet back together to touch in this butterfly position, and then we're going to get that figure 4 on the other side. So your right foot's going to come to your left inner thigh, and you're going to rotate your spine towards your kneecap. Flex that front foot, reach your hands to the sky, take a nice deep breath, and then go ahead and hinge forward. So again, remember the goal is not necessarily to touch this foot, although if you can, good for you. Your hands can rest onto your shin. Notice if you hiked your shoulder up a lot, try to really level out the shoulders. Think of folding out over your front leg. What's so stressful, Stella? Huh? What's going on? What's going on? Is there something out there in the yard? Okay, take 2 more breaths. Sorry, my one doggy's a little stressed about something. I don't know what's going on with her. We're going to breathe and try to get her calm and relaxed. It works. Calm energy. Okay, go ahead and sit up from there. And then our next stretch is that side quad. So you're going to lean over to the side. Scooch out of the way, please, Luna. And then you bring your forearm down and reach back and grab the top of your foot into your hand. So remember, no slumping, no rounding the spine. You want to open the chest and then kick the foot into your hand and rotate towards the spine a little bit to get that quad stretch, which is just a nice variation. Again, it's good to do different stretches at different times so that your body doesn't just always adapt. You're not always doing the exact same series of stretches over and over again. Repetitive movement in any way, including stretching, is not really the best for the body. So it's good to do this variety. That's why I put that whole playlist together for you guys. So you get something different every day. About 10 minutes would be great if you can do that on a consistent basis. Take one more breath. And then we're going to get into that fabulous Turkish twist. So go ahead and lift yourself up and fold your foot over and across your opposite knee. Again, for some of you, you might not be able to get the foot across the knee. You might want to be here. and that's fine. But either way, lift your posture, open up your spine, and create space in your body. Now your right hand will come across your left knee, and your left hand will come out behind your low back, and you're going to rotate and look over the shoulder. Now the more that you pull, use the strength of this right hand to pull your left knee, the more you're going to feel it in your hip, right? Make sure the neck is an extension of your spine, so you're sitting up nice and tall, lengthening, and always creating space in the body. Good. Let's take one more breath. I'm going to use my dog as a prop and pull into her. And then go ahead and slowly rotate out of that. So from here we're going to do that pigeon stretch, which is your hip opener for this segment today. So your left shin can come out in front of your right if that's your modification. She's going to do a little shavasana here. Or if you're a little bit more open, you can bring your left foot on top of your right. And you might notice that one hip is a little bit more flexible than the other, and then you can do it on this side and maybe not so much on the other side. But just make sure you're not sickling that foot, which means that foot is not rotating in. You want your ankles to be stable and strong, right? So that if you ever do, you know, hit a rock when you're running or something like that, that you have stability in your ankles. You don't want to overstretch them. All right, so you can go ahead and fold forward. Again, if this shin is out in front, you do the same stretch here, walking forward. As long as you're feeling the stretch in one or both hips, you are doing it right. Stay with me, we're almost done. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and walk yourself up for those hip rolls, so feet out in front. This is just a great, easy way to open and lubricate the hips, keep them mobile. And then we're going to add that drop down. So you're going to drop your left knee to your right foot and then rotate your spine, bringing your forearms down to the mat. So you want to square your shoulders as much as possible towards the ground. So nice through this back hip flexor and through the spine. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and support and lift yourself up to a seated position for just one breath to finish our practice today. So sit up as tall as you can. Think of standing tall, so shoulders, hips, and heels, hips in one, shoulders, hips, and ears in one line, hands in heart center. Take a huge breath in. I'm so proud of you for finishing this segment so that you have flexibility with your strength and your power. So consistency is your key. Consistently stretching after your runs on a regular basis. Again, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button to get notifications when new videos are released. So thank you so much for your energy and your strength. Until next time, stay flexible, warriors, and namaste.